is up, everyone, and welcome back to even more Muv-Luv photonflowers. In the previous recording session, we wrapped up the extra side of things. It ended fairly well, and we started in on the alternative side stories. Started off with Atonement, which overall was enjoyable. There were some moments that were questionable, a few things I didn't like about the story, but for the most part, it was alright. So if we go to our timeline here, where we left off was in 1992 with Atonement. And then in 1993, there was Operation... in 1992 is where Atonement starts. This is where... And then we saw, like, a lot of this stuff happen. Like, Operation 96, Chinese-Korean coalition force intercepts a large-scale beta invasion. And that's when Marimo participates in Operation 96 alongside the Continental Expeditionary Force. In 94, the first deployment of Type 94 Shiranui. In 94, Marimo is reassigned to the Training Corps. So this was after the incident where all that shit happened. Also in 94, Japan lowers male conscription age, pulling minors from schools. In 95, Japan wins Alternative 4 bid, requisitions Alternative 3 assets. Imperial University student Kosuke Yuko's proposal accepted for next iteration of the Alternative program. Alternative 3 abolished. Wow, okay, so Alternative 4 technically started in 1995. So Alternative 4 had been going on for 6 years prior to what we saw in Alternative. Interesting. Then Japan opens the IJF facilities to accept additional UN troops following Alternative 4 decision. And then Marimo was assigned to the Alternative 4 project on preliminary basis. Of course she was. Japan amends the Military Service Act, making women eligible for conscription. Surprise, surprise. The UN Statistics Division announces global population now officially 50% lower than 1972, pre-beta. Okay, so it took, what are we looking at, 23 years? 23 years and they wiped out half of the Earth's population. Damn. That means they were fucking trucking there in those last few years then. If it took 23 years for them to take out half of the world's population, that would be 3 billion. 23 years for 3 billion. Alright? Because this is based off the estimate of 6 billion. And then we know in 2001, during the events of Unlimited and Alternative, they've taken out 5 billion. So it took them 23 years to take out 3 billion. But then the beta took out another 2 billion in just 6 years. Like, shit really fucking kicked up in those last few years, huh? And then also in 95, over in Europe, Eurofighters begin testing EF-2000 prototypes, and that's where our second story, Rain Dancers, takes place, from the Muv-Luv Alternative Chronicles. Notable for being the first Muv-Luv Alternative spin-off set in Europe, this short story follows Monica Giacosa, whose younger brother would go on to appear in Muv-Luv Alternative Total Eclipse, as she takes part in the first combat test flights of the much-anticipated EF-2000 Typhoon. So without further ado, Rain Dancers. Yes, I know, you don't need to go through the whole intro again. So without further ado, I'll start my timer, let's go. That's English, of course. We're going home. At long last, we're on the road back home. Are you? 1973 marked the beginning of the beta invasion. A beta landing unit dropped into the Kashgar Autonomous Region near western China. The Chinese military gave them hell, but it wasn't enough. The beta then began construction of the original hive. In 1976, shortly after securing a base of operations on Earth, they started to advance north through Eurasia. Then they reached the Ural Mountains in 1977. In response, NATO and the Warsaw Pact launched a large-scale counteroffensive in 1978. Operation Palaiologos. Okay. Humanity managed to infiltrate a hive stab for the first time, but it was all for nothing. The entire infiltration force was wiped out in a matter of hours. The operation was a complete failure. The same year, the beta occupied all of northwest Eurasia. By 1993, all of Europe had fallen to the beta. The following year, the Eurofighters Corporation completed the Experimental Surface Fighters Program's technology demonstrator. A squadron was formed to test the prototypes in live combat. The Rain Dancers. The Mediterranean Sea, 1995. Okay. I'm feeling it. This is the first we ever seen of Europe during all this. So let's see what they got, huh? Okay, we're on the beach. Muv-Luv Alternative Chronicles, Rain Dancers. Okay. Okay. Woman. The sea breeze gently caresses my cheek, carrying with it the salty smell of the tides. I'm not gonna lie, I saw the word tides and immediately I saw titties. Like, I saw T-I-D and I'm like, titties? The smell of titties? No, okay, it's tides. Which, I mean, yeah, I'm sure in some languages they would pronounce that as tides. Titties. The brilliant sunlight the South Mediterranean is known for beams down, projecting the bridge's shadow onto the flight deck. Damn, what European country are you from? This does not sound European at all. I mean, I'm no expert in European languages, but it's been forever since I've seen a sight so vibrant. I'll be on the battlefield within a couple of hours. This journey is so relaxing I can't help but sing an old English song I know. The fleet is heading north. As we sail past the southeastern edge of Sicily, the port of Syracuse comes into view. I'll be jumping into the frying pan before long, but for now, none of that matters. This moment is special. Sure. That said, I have plenty of things to complain about. I have honestly lost count of how many times we, along with the 2 Elizabeth-class aircraft carriers on loan from the Royal Navy, have circled around the Mediterranean Sea. We're glorified handymen, a team who's sent around to clean up from place to place around the European front. Although this is the first time we're heading toward the Italian peninsula. I guess I'll finish this song before I head back inside. Ooh. Look at this guy. I hear a familiar voice speaking in English with a distinct British accent. I did not hear British. It's so embarrassing. Why do you have to pick this moment to approach me? He definitely heard me singing in my terrible English. Deep breaths. Have to stay calm. Calm.
Winston 身軽に海をめでられるラブリーウェザーとあっちゃ
ラブリーウェザー。
たとえ警戒態勢中であるな。全くもって同意します。大尉。イギリス海峡あたりじゃとっくにジャケットを手放せなくなってますもんね。
It's rather liberating to take in the sights on deck wearing nothing but the fortified suit. The Mediterranean Sea is magnificent.
見てください。甲板に機影がくっきり。北海の万年曇り空じゃこうはいきませんよ。
On the flight deck behind us, 6 TSFs stand tall, ready to launch at a moment's notice. As ordered, our 2 aircraft carriers are heading towards the southern end of Italy, off Reggio Calabria, to take part in an operation. In my experience, however, there's a high chance we'll have to respond to a scramble request en route. The HMS Duke of Edinburgh is an aircraft carrier that was retrofitted to carry TSFs. Getting one from the hangar to the deck is a real hassle. That's the reason we have our TSFs lined up on the flight deck and prepped for launch, otherwise we would be late to the party if anything happened.
言ってくれるね。ま、その通りなんだがな。それにしても注意が英語で鼻歌とは珍しいこともあったもんだ。
She has that one strand of hair that like drops down and it almost looks like it like morphs in with her eyebrow, so it looks like she has this really fucking weird eyebrow that like dangles into her eye. Like at first I was looking at her face, I'm like, what the fuck is up with her eyebrow? And then I happened to notice the little strand between like her eyebrow and her forehead along there. I'm like, oh shit, I think that's part of her hair. Yeah, no, like, if you were to take that, if it weren't, like, God, just at first glance, it looks like a really fucking weird eyebrow, and now it's all I can see now that I'm looking at it. Even though I know what it is, it's just like, nah, this lady's got some weird ass fucking eyebrow. Now, see there we can see it a bit clearly. What was that catchphrase of yours? English can eat shit. Classic. Gotta bring it back, of course.
もちろんクソならいくらもうその公用語ですからね。さすがに1年も経てば慣れてきますよ。
Fucking Winston over here, he's got that fucking you like Krabby Patties, don't you, Squidward face going on. Looking at her like, yeah, okay, sure, yeah, no, I believe you, yep. I'm putting on a brave face, but everyone in the unit knows I have a bit of a complex when it comes to the English language. He caught me in the middle of my song though, so there's not much point in keeping up the facade. The captain's well aware of my issue, but he's trying his best to laugh it off as a funny quirk.
まあその着任当時はウブだっただけです。カイドの
His consideration is much appreciated. It's only right I pay him back in kind.
イングレーシにもたまにはいる
Even among you limey bastards.
最近はあまり選択の余地がないですし
そいつは
Hugh. His name's Hugh Winston. That's quite the name. Soon enough, we both erupt in laughter, unable to contain ourselves. Conversations with the captain always end with us joking about every little thing. Good. Yeah, I like this guy. Fucking leagues better than fucking Arai ever was.
俺たち二人強化装備でぼんやり早急の下てな
And he had to go and make a parody of my song, the jerk.
こいつは懐かしい女王陛下のバブフォートはねアモーレ・カンターレのお嬢さんにも歌っていただけるとは嬉しい限りだ
Thank you, game. A canzone de amore. Love song. Thank you.
祖父のコレクションに入ってたんです。レコードなんてものが変えた最後の時代、平和な時代の愛おしき残照ってとこですかね。
The Bugs disbanded in 1970, immediately after they released the song. 3 years later, a hive dropped onto Kashgar. Within a year, 1.2 billion people died. So they killed off 1.2 billion within 1 year. But then it took them another 22 years to kill off another 2 billion. And then in another 6 years, it was another 2 billion. Man, the beta, they got some weird fucking time schedules going on here. Well, I mean, I guess they landed right on top of China. Which, as far as I'm aware, isn't China the most populated country? Or is it Russia? Either way, I mean, China and Russia are fucking neighbors. Like, one's right there. Like, it doesn't. Like, either China's the most populated or it's Russia. And, like, if you hit one or the other, it's like, boom. And, fuck, doesn't India have, like, 1 billion people as well? Like, it's like, shit, yeah, it shouldn't be a surprise that they fucking wiped out a lot within their first year. Now that I think about that. You fucking land in China, take out that surrounding area. You got India to the south, Russia to the north. It's like there's a whole lot of population going on in those areas. Entertainment was sorely needed back in those dark times, but by the 80s, Europe's resources were entirely taken up by the war effort. The entertainment industry gradually degraded into a government propaganda machine. That's the way things have been for decades. Doesn't look like anything will change in the near future.
お家に帰る。イギリスの船で故郷に帰るにはちょうどいい歌ですよ。
You're gonna die, aren't you?
と言っても私の生まれはローマですし、正直シチリアじゃ故郷って呼ぶには遠すぎるんですけどね。
おいおい贅沢な女だなそんなに違うものか
タイはリバプール育ちでしたよね。まあイングランドとアイルランド並みには違いますよ。それにうちまでの道がベータで埋まってるならなおさらです。遠すぎますよ。
Okay.
故郷小さきでローマ街道を駆け上がってやりたいほどに。
モニカ
Monaco. The EF-2000 Typhoon is a TSF designed for close quarters dogfighting, a centerpiece of the plan to recapture Europe. Yeah, that plan didn't work out, did it? We Europeans are skeptical about the cowardly tactics used by the Americans. That's why we developed our own state-of-the-art TSF. Yeah, how'd that work out for you? And since last year, it has been my partner, the strongest blade I could ever wish for.
さすがはレインダンサーズのプリマドンナらしいセリフだな。だがな、今の俺たちに必要なのはレジェンドではなく。
So Monica's here as the Storm Vanguard, huh? That either means that probably means she's a total badass. That usually that's what that translates into. It's like if we think back to our previous Storm Vanguards, we had obviously Takeru, Hayase, Maya. I think Ayamine was also one of the Storm Vanguards. Like absolute fucking badasses for sure. But that also means they're in a lot of danger. Being a badass has a lot of risks to it, especially in this world.
タイフーンレギオンを一刻も早く揃えるために俺たちがいる。
The United Kingdom hasn't escaped the ravages of war. Half of London has been burned to the ground. Jesus. However, the British didn't hide in shame, nor should they. Countless liters of their blood and tears have been spilled in the name of protecting their homeland. After realizing the importance of melee dogfighting capabilities, the ECTSF Joint Development Project underwent a major doctrinal shift. It's thanks to the UK's efforts that the technology demonstrator was finally completed. Italians and Germans, on the other hand, decided to use the readily available American TSFs instead of trying to push the tech forward. It's pathetic. We dismiss the Americans' hit-and-run tactics as cowardly, yet we still rely on machines that favor them. The upper brass recognized the state of affairs was unsustainable in the long run, which is why they sent the prototypes to the front. It was the only way to have the Typhoon battle ready as soon as possible. Desperate and at the end of our rope, it was the single feasible choice.
すみません、タイ。ついつい鼻歌気分もすっ飛ばしてしまったようで。
気にするな、ミオプリマドンナ。大陸を前にして高ぶらない兵士などいるわけがない。まずは麗しき地中海でも共に眺めてじっくり英気を養おうでは。
前線司令部より緊急出撃要請。コンディションレッドにて待機せよ。繰り返す。
So much for that plan, yeah?
くそ、注意を口説こうとすると毎度これだ。オールダンサーズ、警報は聞いたな。悪いが上陸休暇は取り消しだ。総員機体準備ができ次第各機内にて待機。ブリーフィングは着座後に行う。了解。
Rain dancers. The storm is heading our way, carrying with it the answer to all of our prayers. Using our aptly named typhoons and roused by our captain's call, we prepare to unleash a tempest of our own. The thrumming on both the HMS Duke of Edinburgh and HMS Ark Royal increases in strength and frequency as the ships begin changing course, turning into the wind. As it so happens, the wind blows northwest.
ローマからの風。演技担ぎもいいとこだけど。
Winds from Europe, please guide our path. Yeah. The encrypted line?
たく毎度毎度、たまには2本の足で船を降りたいもんだな。
丘に着いたらそれして天外ベスト
I can't hear y'all at all. Oh, there we go.
なんてのはいかがです？もちろん経費で。欧州連合にはそれぐらいの歌詞はあるはずですよ。
そういったいいな。ただよりうまい飯はない。夜にはプリマドンナが花束を抱えて慰問に来るならなおいいね。
男でよければシチリアあたりでいかがです？やっぱ男はイタリアに着きます。
As long as you're fine with the guys.
嬉しいお誘いだが、男は前線ですっかり食い飽きた。これじゃあ両党も片側ばかりが錆びるってもんだ。
Wait, like, I can't tell if he's joking right now. Like, is Hugh swinging both ways? 'Cause if so, like, big homie.
何か言ったか、注意。
It took me a while to realize what she was saying there. She said she thought he was a bottom bitch. She didn't expect him to be a top.
いえ別に。
国連の彫刻家主義者ども、絶対にこっちの航続距離を見すましてやがるわね。
だよな、
Pablo.
こう何度も何度も偶然ギリギリの距離で事前招集かけんのはシートあざとすぎるんじゃないの？くそ。
トーネードを台風と組ませて何がしたいのよ。 混成部隊の兵隊
Ooh, hello,
国
Nadia.
軍のマニュアルに載ってないのかしら。
品質と無能のどっちがいいかな、ナディア。
そう、こすっからい計算づくでやってる陰湿野郎か、地対戦闘が一つもできない無能が急がせてるのか。私としてはぜひとも前者でやってほしいわ。バカが後ろにつくのはご勘弁。
パブロ、前に出な。注意はあんたが後ろは勘弁だとさ。
勘弁してくれ姉子。トーネードでプリマドンナの前に出れるわけないだろ
グレアム、そっち側の準備はどうだ？
Gremu.
こちらマルゴ、B 小隊、C2 分隊。
Oh, Pablo.
完了。現在
Take Pablo's top right there. That's not the face I was expecting, quite honestly.
上出来だ。そのまま機内にて待機。了解。さて、レディース&ワトナッツ。仕事の時間。
Ladies and whatnots.
了解。
On board the two TSF carriers are 8 EF-2000 Typhoons and 4 5 FE-ADV Tornadoes, separated into 2 teams. The Rain Dancers, the pride and joy of the Eurofighters Corporation, are once again about to test the prototypes in actual combat. November 1995.
我らが故郷へ全力で。
Was that supposed to be like a date they referenced in alternative? Like November 1995, and I'm supposed to be like, oh wait, November 95, didn't they say something about that? Because if they did, I don't fucking remember it. Like I already expect, like, this isn't gonna end well, but ooh, animation. Zoom. Alright. The Italian peninsula fought to the bitter end, but ultimately fell to the Beta. That was 2 years ago. Since then, like Carthage and Rome of ancient times, mankind and Beta would clash in Sicily over and over again. Okay. Located at the toe of the Italian peninsula, the Strait of Messina separates Sicily from Calabria. At its narrowest point, it is only 6 kilometers wide. As the strait was too difficult to defend, the eastern part of Sicily was designated as the buffer zone against the Beta instead. It would be fair to say the eastern end of Sicily is being used as bait. Any Beta that surfaced across the crossing strait would be torn apart by simultaneous naval bombardment from the north and southwestern fleets. Thankfully, the southern tip of Italy and central regions of Sicily are mountainous areas, which means the laser clads do not present a critical threat. Starting from 1995, the UN has designated Sicily as one of the key strategic points on the European front. Europe may have forgotten, but it was Cato the Elder who discovered the length of the Strait of Sicily 2,000 years ago. Lying between Sicily and Tunisia, it's only around 140 kilometers long. Mankind has been traveling across here for thousands of years. The distance can be covered in a matter of hours. If Sicily were to fall, using the strait as a shipping lane would become essentially impossible, even with the current defenses still in place. Resupply operations like the ones running through the Mediterranean to Crete and Cyprus, as well as the flow of supplies between East Africa and Western Europe, would be greatly reduced in scope. Control of the Eastern Mediterranean is of paramount importance to preserve the Suez front in the Middle East. The fall of the Suez would mean the surrender of the vast plains of North Africa. Should North Africa be lost, a battle over a massive landmass would inevitably follow. Just as it happened in Russia, the defense of an entire African continent would be in jeopardy. And mankind's current status quo, especially when it comes to the remaining forces in Europe and Southeast Asia, hinges on the availability of African resources. One cannot ask for a better example of the domino effect. Losing the shipping route at Sicily could trigger the loss of the entire Eastern Hemisphere. And let me guess, y'all are gonna sacrifice yourselves to keep this shit, keep it going, keep it alive and well. The fall of a single piece can cause the entire row to fall. This is the reality of humanity's war against the Beta. Oh, okay. Ah.
いかけるぞ。ウィリアム、B 小隊レフトエンベロップ、行け。
了解。E 小隊続け。
ダーサー9ジェンダー発射。ウィンチェスター。
Oh, we get that.
十分だナディア。モニカ、レイジェル、フランコ。
フランコ。
同時に突っ込むぜ。
丸2了解。
丸3了解。
丸4了解。
A 小隊電気チャージ。フォワード。
うせろクソ豚ども
God damn. Monica's got some anger issues, don't she? Also, what kind of weapon is that? Like, our homies over in Japan, they have like actual swords. Like, she's got like these Europeans have like giant cleavers almost. Uh-oh. Bye, Rachel. Oh, no? Oh, damn. Monica just straight kicking in the face of a beta. Didn't even use her weapon, just kicked its fucking face in. That's tight, actually. That's fucking dope. Hell yeah, homie shit. Yeah, hi Franco. Oh. She's just fucking kicking the motherfuckers. I love it. I honestly love this about Monica. She's not afraid to like literally throw hands with the beta. Like obviously she's not throwing hands because she's kicking, but still. I mean, she's like, I don't fucking need to use guns or fucking melee weapons to do shit. I can just fucking, I got legs, bitch. Kick.
Monica, check 6.
Check 6. Shut up, Pablo.
レディーファーストだバカ者。野郎のケツは自分で守れよ。
だってさ、パブロのケツを掘りたがる貴重なやつがいるもんかね。
Oh god.
おい。
おい。
キラマルゴ、維持にデストロイヤー級だ。30匹はいるぞ。
キリがないわね。
パブロ来客よ。
グレアム、敵のケツに食らいつけ。こっちは南から回り込む。
了解。
行くぞ。A 小隊続け。
了解。
Hell yeah.
E 小隊クリア。センサー反応なし。
了解。こちらもクリア。片付いたか。よーし、前期小型種遭遇に警戒しつつ集結しろ。レインダンサーズよりヘッドクォーターエリア C4 まで確保した。敵襲撃はやはり組織的にあらず。現在音紋振動ともに感なし、状況の確認を求む。
936mm rounds and one 120mm round remaining, and plenty of propellant for the time being. My suspicions were on the mark. The prototype halberd is a lot more fragile compared to the other melee weapons in service.
やっぱハルバードタイプはトップヘビーすぎるわ。比例して固定兵装の使用頻度も増えるし。
Okay, so their actual melee weapon is not standard. Gotcha. It did look right.
ちょっとドイツ人のノスタルジーに付き合いすぎたんじゃない？
注意。今回のハルバード傾向を認可したのはローマレギオン風味に興奮してたイタリア産なのをお忘れなく。彼、ほっといたら大風雲に赤いマントでも着せかねない勢いでしたよ。
ごめんごめん、そうだった。復古主義者の二大巨頭、イタリアとドイツで言い合うセリフじゃなかったわ。
The Führer and Il Duce, the men who brought forward so much suffering and destruction to our homelands.
ご理解感謝します。にし しても欧州にまだこんなところが残ってただなんて。
そうね。レッジョ・カラブリアは全域が山岳地帯だし、ベータも完全浸透しているわけじゃないから。
I hadn't noticed during the battle. Once things had calmed down, I was pleasantly surprised to see so much of our surrounding environment intact. This is where we have brought our state-of-the-art hammer down, the toe of Italy's boot, Reggio Calabria. From here, as if standing on tiptoes, the lower end of the boot roughly spreads out to the north and south.
それにベータの進行ルートは山脈の向こう側らしいし。
Should the Beta penetrate Calabria and invade Sicily, nothing would stop them from marching southwards to the western shores due to the relatively open terrain.
贅沢な話だけど、こっち側を自分たちの手で焼け野原にしなくて済むのは。
With our offensive strength dwindling, our forces are focused on the western areas. Thanks to all the mountains, it's rare for the battle to reach this side of the country.
ほんとそうですね。夕暮れの光に気候も植生も全然違うけど、それでもここは祖国の一部ない。これは確かに懐かしきふるさとの自然ですよ。
Nadia is being rather candid for someone who's a bit of a cynic. No surprise there, her homeland is long gone. Are you Rachel? On the bottom left there? You're the only face I haven't seen before. Are you Rachel? You look nice. East Germany fell 10 years ago. The grainy satellite footage showed the land between progressively leveled by the Beta until the plains of northern Germany were reduced to a barren rocky desert. The same thing happened to the plains of France. It's only a matter of time before the Italian and Iberian peninsulas follow suit.
まったくだ。こういうのを見ると心底ホッとするぜ。
Oh, Franco. I didn't even notice Franco down there. I honestly thought Franco was Graham. I just saw 2 Grahams essentially. I was like, oh yeah, it's Graham. And Graham. I mean, look at those haircuts. Tell me they're not the same guy. I mean, the face is almost identical.
まだ間に合うんだってな。
If I remember correctly, Second Lieutenant Franco Versace is from Milan, but one of his uncles was from Reggio Calabria. That means coming back gets a lot harder for him.
この辺の感覚がアメコには理解できないところなんでしょうね。
The United States of America is a nation that built itself from scratch. Europe, on the other hand, is the product of numerous different civilizations that existed throughout the ages. Needless to say, European nations place a much greater value on their culture.
アメリカ人にとっては何でもかんでもまた作ればいいってものなんでしょうけど。
Not wrong. We dread the point of no return. For us Europeans, whose heart and soul consists of our historical heritage, merely rebuilding is out of the question. Of course, we did restore the environment to its prior state and reconstructed our historical landmarks from the ashes of both world wars. But when all of civilization, all of nature, is torn down to the bare earth by the Beta, when faced with such sheer destruction, we couldn't be so confident anymore. Even if we can retake the continent, the revival, let alone the reconstruction, of our heritage is a pipe dream.
そうね。ナディアの言う通り、連中には育てるって感覚がないのよね。にしてもドイツ人に祖国の一部とか堂々言われるとちょっと微妙な気分になるわね。
そうです。我が祖国も2000年前にはローマ帝国の一部なんて言われてたみたいですけど。
Come on.
そういえばそうよね。
ですよね。
おい。
What, Pablo?
ま、お互いに。
元数軸国同士ということで、ヘッドクォーターよりレインダンスリーダー。こちらでも状況を確認。敵の突発侵入は収束した模様。掃討作戦は完了とし、これより砲兵部隊を所定の位置に戻す。
了解。ただこっちは船旅から格闘戦に直行だ。さすがに兵を休ませたい。補給は後方にて願う。本作戦までは4時間ほどあるはずだが。
了解した。警戒にはこちらの部隊を割り当てる。機体は本作戦開始まで一旦下がられたし、そちらの整備部隊も回させる。お疲れ様でした。
It's unusual for HQ to be so polite. Yeah, something bad's about to happen. Are they being considerate because they called on us so abruptly? Nope.
オールダンサーズ、聞こえてたな。作戦完了だ。一旦レッジョディ・カラブリアまで後退して遅めの上陸休暇だ。
B 小隊了解。そちらに合流する。
I was joking when I brought it up before the sortie, but right now I really mean it. I'm so drenched in sweat that I'd literally kill for a long hot shower. Nothing really happened during the cruise, but a search and destroy mission on top of a scramble is extremely stressful on the mind and body nonetheless.
よし、集まったな。ホライゾナルクルーズで移動開始だ。両線から頭を出すんじゃないぞ。やけならビーチでゆっくりやれ。
了解。
Okay. This song, huh? Interesting. Reggio Calabria. Facing the Strait of Messina, the ruins of the port city glitter in the last rays of the setting sun. Considering the beta usually forward across slightly south of here, it's a miracle half of the original town still remains intact. Of course, that doesn't mean there are any residents around. But this level of destruction is no different than what's caused by a war between humans. Benigni? Benini, okay.
ユーロファイタス国連派遣部隊ヒュー・ウィンソン隊だ。ま、これが毎度の任務さ。
He seems to be quite worn out, just like us. If I'm not mistaken, the UN forces should have landed on the Italian peninsula 3 days ago. They haven't been here for long, but the sacrifices required to get 1 foot onto Eurasia are nothing to scoff at.
早速だが、うちの整備部はどうしてる？
半時間前ぐらいかな。そっちの空母からランチで上陸済みだよ。作戦2時間前までにはフィールドメンテを終えるとさ。
そいつはありがたい。何せ相当作戦に予想以上に時間を取られたからな。
何にせよ感謝するよ。国連のチキンどもは抽出部隊の編成に及び腰でな。うちの部隊だけじゃ無駄に被害を拡大させるところだった。
言っただろ。毎度のことだから気にせんで。
Like I said, we're just that fucking great. Anyway.
国連のザ・ロックはサザンプトンでも経験済みさ。
変わらんな。
Yeah, those fucking bastards at the UN. Can't trust them. In that brief exchange, the 2 squadron commanders voiced the contempt in which most Europeans hold the United Nations. Both Italy and the United Kingdom are long-standing members of the UN. That didn't help them avoid tasting the bitter fruit of defeat. That's why we're determined to never let it happen again.
そういや、あんたらの機体、台風だったか。しびれるね。ファッキンファルコンもアメちゃんの設計にしちゃ小回りが利くが、今の欧州に必要なのは正面から殴り合えるファイターだからな。
True.
あのカターナみたいなデザイン、心理的にもイタリア好みだ。
Well, the captain's wish might have already come true. The rumors say the Typhoon was completed thanks to technical assistance provided by the Japanese Empire. Some among the rain dancers believe it, others are more skeptical.
さて、2時間ほど休ませてもらえるはずだが、どこぞにいい寝床でもないかね。トレステレに天外ベッド、ついでに魚介を食わせる店でもあれば紹介してくれ。
飯ならうちのを回してやるよ。それに天外ならちょうど立派なもんがある。元究極のお偉いさんの邸宅だ。最近はどうもお見限りだがね。
Oh. Ooh. Oh, y'all in a church?
確かに天外付きとは言ったがな。
Absolutely heavenly, uh-huh.
ルイス・キャロルの言葉遊びじゃねえんだ。これはちょいと反則じゃないか、イタリアさんよ。
確かに究極のお偉いさん。神様。内装は一応豪華で天外もついてる。おまけに神のご加護は折り紙付きですよ。
Captain Benini led us to a partially collapsed church. A cross stands tall in the sanctuary behind the altar, keeping watch over us sinners even as the rest of the city has fallen to ruin. I'm thankful to you, Lord who art in heaven. I won't be turning my back on my faith just yet.
おお、神よ、女王を守りたまえ。 いくら天井が見事でも
The captain may complain, but he knows that on the front lines it's an unspeakable luxury to find a place with a roof to rest at. We're well aware it provides no protection against the beta, but that doesn't matter. Placebo effect or not, that's something about the sense of security that 4 walls and a roof provide.
まあまあ隊長、さっきの大尉さんからいいものも預かってますから。
ん？
前線にはそれなりの役得もあるものさって。
魔法瓶じゃねえか。もしやあれか。
隊長、いい知らせと悪い知らせがあります。
なんだモニカ、もったいぶるんじゃ。ってまさかおい、やめてくれよ、それは。
ええ、いい知らせはこいつが本物のカフェだってとこです。アフリカが近いとたまには手に入るんだそうで。
Pseudo coffee is good enough for those who have gotten used to it. However, this is ground coffee, made from real beans. Ooh. Just the thought of it makes your mouth water.
で、悪い知らせは？
こいつを入れたのがアメコウってことです。
やっぱそれか。
What? Is that like a common thing that we Americans fucking brew our coffee weird? This is the first time I've heard anything like that. The sun is set and military lanterns serve as our only source of illumination. Their light is so dim one could believe the church is being lit up by votive candles.
まずいですね。
ああ、まずい。相変わらずまずい。
Sipping the natural coffee, proudly made in the USA from stainless steel mugs, the captain and I are in fact enjoying the brew. Though it's quite a shame an American got their hands on such a treasure, at least its strong organic aroma remains.
アメリカ人に貴重な豆を渡したバカな死刑士官は銃殺に処されたのかね。
奴にはこれから毎日靴下の煮汁をおごるそうです。
Dirty sock soup, what the troops on the European front call a drink worse than American-made and even pseudo-coffee. As far as I know, people from Brazil still grow their coffee locally. If they can drink that fake crap with no complaints overseas, they must have one hell of a poker face.
パブロの靴下を渡しとけ。奴はひどい水虫だ。
了解、ダース単位で送らせます。
Complete silence. For a brief moment, time passes without any of us making a sound. On the front lines, moments like this are priceless. This is so soothing.
眠れそうか、モニカ。休息はきっちりとれ。
We just drank this caffeinated beverage. Time to sleep. The captain's voice fades away into the cobblestone walls. The church is quiet, but I know I'm not alone. I have no reason to feel lonely.
こいつを干したら休みますよ。子守歌も聞こえますしね。
During my first time on the battlefield, I heard the rumbles from a nearby shelling. I was still inexperienced at the time, and hearing it gave me an adrenaline rush, one that instantly raised my spirits. After my first battle ended and I realized I had survived the 8 minutes of death, I felt the sound of artillery was sure proof that the beta were nearby. The roar of the cannons was a vivid reminder of their ugly visages. When I thought of them smashing down the walls and eating people in their beds, sleep became impossible.
人類、未だここにありけり。ま、これで眠れるようになりゃ、兵士も一人前だ。
The captain's right. The sound of distant thunder became a source of great comfort before I knew it. One that tells me mankind still lives. The beta don't have artillery. The roar of explosions and the screaming of falling shells are absolute proof allies are nearby. The sound lets you know beyond a shadow of a doubt your fellow men are nearby. Nothing else provides such definite evidence you're not fighting the enemy alone.
結局、私もこの音で20歳を迎えちゃいますよ。せめて弟が徴兵される前に
Yeah, it would be nice, wouldn't it?
取り返せればよかったんですけどね。
おお、ミアプリマドンナ。お前が家族の話をするとは珍しい。弟がいたとは知らなかったが、聞いてみれば納得だ。
あいつも今年で17ですし、すでに訓練課程は通って。
Oh.
国連軍で
Oh, that's right. It mentioned in the description, right, that her younger brother goes on to be a part of another alternative story.
兄弟揃ってさすがと言うべきだな。 モニカのところはそういう軍人家系なのか？
軍人ではないですね。父は結局徴兵されましたけど、実はトルナードの設計にも関わってたらしいんですよ。
ああ、リバプールビートを集めてた素敵なじいさんか。あの時珍しいなとは思ったんだ。イタリア人で、しかもその世代っていうとな。
祖父はもともと大衆車のデザイナーだったんですよ。英国製と競い合ってた関係で、逆に英国文化も結構認めてたみたいです。勝つためにはまず敵を知れとかなんとか、適当な理由をつけてね。
When the flames of war reached Rome, my grandpa left that record playing all day long. That music is etched into my heart. Wherever I go, I will carry it with me. Grandpa stayed in Rome until the bitter end. Now that I think about it, maybe that's what he intended all along. The music playing at that time must have been for our sake, to ease the pain of being driven out of our homes. The image of him sitting in his rocking chair with his eyes closed flashes through my mind.
あの歌、日曜のお散歩、どこにも行けずにお家に帰るって歌詞でしたよね。なんか笑っちゃいます。
When I first set foot on Italian soil, the significance of it hadn't crossed my mind, even though I'd been singing that song on the carrier a couple hours earlier.
毎度毎度、私たちもどこにも行けない。
However, as I start to think back on Rome, all the painful memories begin to resurface.
ただ寄ってくるベータを吹っ飛ばして、帰ろうにも帰るうちなんて。
Commercial cars have begun to disappear, and the TSF Grandpa devoted his life to will soon be retired. My little brother, who once aspired to be an actor, is now a surface pilot. No one could have imagined our unassuming father would die heroically at the Padon Plain.
クリスマスカードを送るあてすらどこにもない。私たちの故郷はこんなに近くて。
Europe is shattering, and no one can stop it. The life no one wished for has come to pass. The dreams that once filled this land have vanished.
隊長、20歳ですよ。私、こんな音の中で大人になっちゃうんですよ。
Everything I was holding deep down comes to the surface. Yet, there are no tears. My eyes become slightly moist, but I don't cry. My forced smile remains dry. The coffee I haven't tasted in so long thaws out the memories of home and family in my blood. And there's also the fact I've been lying about my age. I'm still a full year away from becoming an adult. These are the kind of thoughts I've locked away, but I can't cry over the past anymore. I've forgotten how to.
君への道は遥かに暗く遠かれど。こいつもおなじみなんじゃないか。確か同じアルバムに入ってたはずだからな。
ええ、確かに覚えてますけど。あ、
そうさ、ファブ4も歌ってるだろ。孤独を超えて涙を超えて。でも戻ってくるのは所詮この道さ。
Could it be the captain had lost his way once as well?
いいじゃねえか。前に行っても戻される。帰る家は瓦礫の下。カードを出す相手も方々に散った。それでも俺たちはこの道を歩いているし、
Fair enough.
この道しか歩く先はない。そうだモニカ、俺たちはいつだって故郷に向かって歩みを進めてる。物理的な距離が縮まらなかろうと、それは誰にも否定できない事実なんだ。ん？
ありがとうございます。
20歳か。そいつはめでたいね。
So you're not a kid anymore.
モニカ、お前自分で言ってたじゃねえか。この法制の中なら安らげる。そうさ、この子守歌で育ったやつはな、一生一人になることはねえんだよ。
Oh yeah.
それって。
遠くても一緒に行こうじゃねえか。いいねえ、ローマ。イングランドから見やゴールデンサンだ。
タイ。
Going home together. Going home with the captain.
さぞかし女どもも 美しいんだろう。
Damn, I should have known. Jesus Christ, I can't believe this guy.
はいですね。
お前を見てりゃわかるさ。
Oh. My face turned crimson when I realized the captain was teasing me. And at the same time, the anguish that had been writhing in my body subsided before I even noticed.
そうですね。ええ、いつか必ず紹介してみせますよ。ローマのそれは美しい黒髪の男どもを。
As long as you hit it from the right angle and use the power of imagination. I love these two.
モニカ、お前本当そのネタ好きだな。
In this quiet church, amid the continuous rumbling of the far-off guns, the sound of our laughter quietly echoes.
コンミリーテス。諸君は孤独で食い物も音楽もない。国連は諸君に何も与えてはくれやしない。私は諸君を世界で最も肥沃な平野に連れて行く。諸君はそこで故郷を得るだろう。
With his usual flair for drama, the captain plays out his take on a famous speech from one of mankind's most renowned conquerors.
さあ、イタリア人に向かってナポレオンはひどいんじゃないですか。
おっと、そうだったな。退役を許すあたりの方が良かったか。
そいつはありがたいですけど、私は別に賃上げ要求はしてませんってば、カエサル殿。
Having returned to our usual mood, we clink our stainless steel mugs again.
さあ、お休みの時間だ。イタリア人をもたらし込んだマッシュルームカットの4人の英雄に乾杯してな。
The
ソフト
Beebles.
もどもやられたならまさに乾杯ですよ。今日は
Why did I
そう
just
いうことに
realize
しと
that
きます。
that the Bugs was their fucking knockoff version of the Beatles? Tomorrow we'll head for the battlefield again. Doesn't matter if we can't go forward. We'll still be on the way back home. You better believe it. This isn't where it ends. That's it? That's it? Really? That's it? Huh. I'm not gonna lie, I honestly expected more out of this. Like, this is about half the length that Marumo's story was. And like, you had like one fight, and then it kinda like develops the friendship between these two. Most of these fucking one-name people. Monica, voiced by I. Hugh, voiced by Zen. And then like, you know, some actual names here. Alright. Alright. Wow, that was short. Really? November 1995. The large-scale interception at the southern end of the Italian peninsula, Operation Bootstrap, was a success. Sicily remains safe for the time being. First Lieutenant Monica Giacosa departs from her homeland once again. For now, she'll be walking the road home for a while longer. Okay. God, that's it, huh? That's it, huh?